Hi everyone, this is Pastor Teresa at Beaver Ridge United Methodist Church. Thank you for joining me here on a Tuesday afternoon. It is an incredibly beautiful day today, another spring day that is worth getting outside and enjoying. But thank you for taking time to be with me. I want to dive right into our story for today. It comes from Mark 5. It's the healing of a demon-possessed man. And here's the story. They went across the lake to the region of the Gerasenes. And when Jesus got out of the boat, a man with an evil spirit came from the tombs to meet him. This man lived in the tombs, and no one could bind him any more, not even with a chain. For he had been chained hand and foot, but he tore the chains apart and broke the irons on his feet. No one was strong enough to subdue him. Night and day among the tombs and in the hills he would cry out and cut himself with stones. When he saw Jesus from a distance, he ran and fell on his knees in front of him. He shouted at the top of his voice, "What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? Swear to God that you won't torture me." For Jesus had said to him, "Come out of this man, you evil spirit." Then Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" "My name is Legion," he replied, "for we are many." And he begged Jesus again and again not to send him out of the area. Well, there was a large herd of pigs who were feeding on a nearby hillside. The demons begged Jesus, "Send us among the pigs and allow us to go into them." He gave them permission, and the evil spirits came out and went into the pigs. The herd, about 2,000 in number, rushed down the steep bank into the lake and were drowned. Those tending the pigs ran off and reported this in the town and countryside, and the people went out to see what was happening. When they came to Jesus, they saw the man who had been possessed by the legion of demons sitting there, dressed in his right mind, and they were afraid. And those who had seen it told the people what had happened to the demon-possessed man, and told about the pigs as well. When the people began to plead with Jesus to leave their region, as Jesus was getting into the boat, the man who had been demon-possessed begged to go with him. Jesus did not let him, but said, "Go home to your family and tell them how much the Lord has done for you and how he has had mercy on you." So the man went away and began to tell in the Decapolis how much Jesus had done for him, and all the people were amazed. I love this story here. So what we have is Jesus had been out on a boat previously, crossing the sea. He leaves the territory where the Jewish people are, and he comes to a place called the Gerasenes. These were not Jewish people. These were Gentiles. He comes across the sea to a place where they're not his people. What would a rabbi be doing in a place that doesn't believe in their God, that doesn't believe in, have faith in their religion or practice that religion? They practiced other things. But here he does. He comes to the shore, and he comes to what's essentially a graveyard, right? He comes to where there are tombs. Rabbis didn't do that. I mean, why would you go and if you're about preaching and teaching and so forth, why would you go to the land of the dead, a place of the dead? Jesus did that because he had come for this man. He come for this one. I think that's a beautiful part of this story if you stop and think about it. This guy would have been lonely, would have been isolated. His community had said, "Your behavior, your actions, your life, who you are, you're dead to us. You're so dead that you need to live and belong in the tombs." And they sent him there, and they tried to keep him there by chaining him up, but he was so strong that he tore the chains apart and he broke the irons on his feet. But yet he was tormented by these demons. He was being mentally tortured, and he was cutting himself with the stones because he was just not in his right mind, and he was so alone and so isolated. And I'm sure that in so many ways he felt like he was a dead man living among the tombs. He sees someone pull up in a boat. He sees Jesus getting out, and Jesus is coming for him. Not for anybody else, but for him. So this man comes running towards Jesus, and he falls down on his knees, and he shouts at the top of his voice. But it's the demon that is speaking at this point. "What do you want with me? Swear that you won't torture me." And Jesus says, "Come out, you evil spirit." And the evil spirits, they recognize that Jesus had authority. they recognize that they would have to obey Jesus. So they're like trying to bargain with Jesus at this point. Well, don't just send us out of the area. Don't send us away. And so Jesus is talking to the demons and says, so what is your name? Legion. Let me tell you, when you have something that is bothering you, I was just talking to a woman who was telling me about her husband, and he has an awful lot of back pain, and they don't know what's wrong with him. He's had all kinds of tests. It just is so helpful, and there's something about it that's a relief, and it's hopeful when you have a name, when you have a diagnosis. You can take better control of what is happening to you in your life and in your world if you know what it is that you're dealing with. Jesus wanted to know, what's your name? So he says, we're legion, for we are many. And they're bargaining. Don't send us out of the area. Send us into that herd of pigs. It's interesting. These spirits were unclean, and they were asking to be sent into pigs. And the Jewish people believe that pigs are unclean, right? So the unclean were asking to be sent into the unclean. Something appropriate about that. And when they did, the pigs then ran off of the land, and they ran into down a steep bank and into the lake where they drowned. The pig herders, listen, like that was their livelihood. That's how they made their living, taking care of those pigs and selling those pigs for a profit. And they just lost their investment. They had nothing to do with the story, and yet they're without. There's 2,000 pigs that had run off the side of that steep bank and drowned. So they're obviously very stressed about this, and they run back into town in the village, and they're telling everybody, I can't believe what happened. This man who we said was dead, and we put out here in the tombs, and we chained him, and this guy comes in a boat, and he like heals him, but at the same time, he kills all of our pigs. So the townspeople come out there to see this for themselves. Like, who does something like this? Who does something like this? And so they were afraid. And so they then start begging Jesus. They're pleading with Jesus, we need you to leave. We don't know what just happened, because remember, they don't worship God. These are Gentiles in another territory. They don't have the same kind of knowledge about who God is. So they're like, you got to get out of here. We don't need you here. So Jesus, as always, Jesus, the gentleman, he's leaving. He leaves them. He's getting into his boat. And now the man who just had the miracle, the man whose life had just been restored, the man who was no longer going to have to be chained in the tombs, comes running after him and says, I want to follow you. I want to be one of your disciples. I want to be with you for the rest of my life. He's so grateful. He's so thankful. But Jesus says, no, I've got another assignment for you. I've got another thing for you. Take your story, go back home and share it. And because those people know you and love you, they're going to believe your story. Man, that does more for letting people know who God is, who our God is, as a God of miracles and a great physician. That did more for them in that village, to have heard it from a man who could say, you know me, you know you were the one that put me in that tomb, you know that you were the one that chained me, you know that I was possessed with this demons and the spirit, and there were so many of them. You know who I once was, that I was like the dead, and now you see me. What a difference. And that difference was because of Jesus Christ. And the people were amazed by this story. Now, I just want to share with you that, what is a rabbi doing coming across the sea to come to the land of the dead, the cemetery where the tombs were, for just one person? He came for that one man. He knew what he was doing. He went out of his way, because what he did afterwards, when they said leave town or leave this area, he gets in his boat and they row back across the sea. He only came for this one person in that area. And that's so often like who God is. God comes for the one. He comes for who we are, and he meets us where we are, and he doesn't leave us as we are. He changes us, and that's what he did with this guy. He changed him. He changed his life. And that's how God does it in our world too. We all have our stories of miracles. We all have our stories where God has been in the middle of what we thought was once dead and brought life back to us. And out of our gratitude and our renewed sense of hope and new beginning because of this experience with God, he says, now go and tell everyone so they'll know, so they'll believe. That's a beautiful message. Wherever you are, I think back. Maybe your miracle happened today. Maybe it was last week. Maybe it was 5 or 10 years ago, that amazing thing that you still can see it so clearly today. I encourage you to share that story with your family, with your friends, with your coworkers, with your other students, wherever you may be. Be brave and share that story. Share with them where God was in your life. And they too will be amazed. And you all can celebrate all over again together. Now, I hope you'll join me Wednesday night. It's just for Bible study. We don't have dinner. You can do Bible study with me at 6:30 to 7:30. I'm just going to tell some stories. This will be one of them, but there'll be some others. And on Sunday, we're going to recognize our graduates at 10 o'clock in the morning for worship service. So join us for those couple of things. Whatever you do today, get outside because it is beautiful. And you are loved. Remember, God is with you. Have a blessed day.